Well, thanks everyone for joining us this morning. We're excited to have Rakel Sanchez, the CSCB Grant Specialist, join us this morning. She's going to be giving an overview of the CSCB Matching Grant Program, information about the application process, and just some tips and details to look out for on the way. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat or raise your hand and Rakel could answer those as we go along. And we will also save some time for Q&A at the end, so no worries there. But with that said, we will go ahead and turn it over to Rakel. Thanks, Rakel.
Thank you, guys. Let me just get my screen share. All right, can everybody see okay?
We can.
Okay, good. All right, so like Kayla said, I'm Rakel Sanchez, and I'm the grant specialist for the CSCB board. This is my presentation for the matching grant program. So just to start, applications are due this year on July 21st. And this is the mission statement and the funding intention of the board. So the matching grant program assists conservation districts in implementing and encouraging sound natural resource planning and management and development, particularly in minerals, energy, geology, and water resources. Targeted conservation efforts are vital to the program. So the funds are intended to implement enduring on-the-ground conservation practices and educational activities for sustaining and protecting Colorado's natural resources through public and private partnerships. All right, so in short, the matching grant program helps districts implement private lands on the ground conservation projects and educational conservation activities. It provides matching state funds towards the cost of such projects and activities, and it leverages the dollars as the districts and their partners provide the other half of the funding. So half of the state award must be matched with hard cash. Applicant eligibility. So funds are only available to districts that are in good standing with the state. Good standing means meeting all the statutory requirements according to the items specified by CSCB policy. So all of that information is on the operations website. If you have any questions about where your district stands, you are more than welcome to reach out to your field specialist or Aubrey or me, and we can help you find out if you're in good standing with the state. I have a feeling you would know if you aren't also. And applicant eligibility. So beyond being in good standing, you also must be registered with sam.gov and provide an up-to-date unique entity identifier. Board approval of the application and the match obligated must be documented in your meeting minutes. And districts can submit more than one application. And if they do, and they have a preference for which one they want funded, they should definitely put that in the very beginning of the application. Districts can also combine their applications in consideration for a large multi-district project. And then just note which district is going to take on the lead of that project, the reporting and receiving the funds, managing the funds. Project eligibility. So they must impact or benefit private lands within the state of Colorado. They should address natural resource concerns identified by local working groups hosted by the Conservation District, by the Watershed Association, or identified in the district's annual or long-range plans. Educational activities that are eligible for grant awards should provide a cost share, add to the knowledge of existing practices or management procedures, or support and address innovation and technology. These are some examples of eligible projects. So cost sharing of stock water developments on CRP lands, planting grasses, trees, or shrubs for conservation practices. I'm not going to read them all. Small acreage workshops, soil health workshops, workshops on weed control for list A and or list B. species. We also have tons of examples of eligible projects on the operations website. You could see this was 2023's matching grant impact. So the matching grant funds that were awarded were 420,000, and the district, which they do every year, overmatched, and we were able to they matched 645,208. So total on the ground and educational, total conservation funds is 1,065,000, which is huge. And it just shows how many acres were impacted. And this is just 1 year of the program. And so it continues to grow and be very successful every year. And again, please look at the website for more and more projects that have been approved in the past. So here's examples of ineligible projects. They cannot be used to cost share the DCT if your district has one. Weed control for List C species or just general weed control. Only landowner labor costs or administrative costs. More than 10% of the award to any district board member or their family. And DCT time cannot be claimed as a match. Okay, so if that sounds good to you, we go to the next step, which would be applying. So what do you need when you apply? You have to submit your grant application narrative, which includes a statement of work. If it's a noxious weed related application, it must include list A and or list B weeds, and it can include list C as also. You also have to have the grant application budget, sign partner agreement letters for specific matching contributions, and then up to 3 pictures or visual models depicting the activities planned. And then, so here's some tips on the narrative. So all of the templates are available on the operations website, and that is what you need to use in order to apply for the matching grant. They all must be submitted electronically to the CSCB grants email. I recommend reviewing the application grant guidelines, have a clear understanding of your project, your budget, your goals, and the anticipated results. Be fully confident that your project is achievable and aligns with CSCB's goals. And when you're applying, really paint a picture of why your district needs these funds to get your project started. Like pull US Census data, get stats. For example, you could say, your conservation district is located on the rolling prairies of the Eastern Plains, and look up the population and the medium income and why you need this funding. Really paint a picture and sell it on your application of why your district is in need of these funds and the benefit. In addition, like be clear, be concise, answer all the questions on the application, do your research, and then also just pay attention to the smaller details, grammar, your font, your spelling, your punctuation. Have your colleagues and board supervisors look over it. Ask CSCB to the field staff to look over your application or provide general feedback. If you send it to the grants email, within earlier than 2 weeks before the deadline, I can look over it also and try to help look at those smaller details. Another tip would be read it out loud to yourself to try to catch any awkward phrases. There are so many tools available on the internet, especially with AI now. You could do Grammarly, type in your narrative and answers, and let the AI help you make it specific and grammatically correct. A lot of times, since we haven't really updated the narrative in a while, and we got a lot of feedback that it is one of the easier grants to apply for, and that people like it across the board. But a lot of times districts will just copy and paste their previous year applications, and a lot of the board members are the same reviewers sometimes. And so really try to change it up and ask for that feedback. We're here to help you. Okay, and so budget. So the project budget template, again, use the template on the operations website, and then utilize the notes section to provide further details regarding your budget. So in that budget template that's on the operation website, you can see the tabs on the bottom. First is your proposed budget, then notes and budget questions. And then there's also helpful documents on the website to help you work through this as well. And again, just don't forget to answer these budget questions, the third tab on the spreadsheet. The more information you provide, the better, as long as it's like concise and important to your project, right? They want to make sure that you're being a good steward of tax dollars, right? So a project budget, continued administrative costs, they can be a maximum of 10% of the project and deducted at a maximum of 10% of the matching grant award. The project labor cost, this is labor for your specific project activity. So for example, design and production of materials, organizing and carrying out workshops, technical assistance from district staff, NRCS, contractors, etc. If the DCT provides technical service for your project, their time cannot be claimed for the award or used as match. Indirect costs, so examples, costs such as buildings, communications, and utilities, and shared equipment and insurances as a match. In kind if it's paid by partners, hard cash if it's paid exclusively by the district. Only district incurred indirect costs for the project may be claimed from the award, and at no more than 5% of the award or $1,000, whichever is the lowest. And all of this information is in those grant guidelines that are on the website. So, match requirements. The grant application must provide and identify matching funds to satisfy 100% dollar for dollar match of the CSCB funds requested. 50% of that must be hard cash. So your example, if a district grant application requests $7,000 from the CSCB, the district must document match of $7,000, but with $3,500 of that being hard cash. This must be explained on that template budget from a few slides previous. And the match must be raised and expended within the contract timeline and according to the expected completion date. So match continued. The match can be a combination of district, private, local government, or federal dollars, but no other state funds. The only exception is the CSCB direct assistance. You cannot use the same resources as match in two places. Federal partners are to be documented as in-kind match. The hard cash match can include landowner labor time for conservation practice implementation, and then just use the most recent CSU extension custom rates. So scoring and operational requirements. So the scoring criteria is available on the website. Applications are scored by a reviewing committee made up of members with conservation expertise. The review committee members evaluate each application based off the same scoring criteria that you can see on the website. The scores are then presented to the CSCB, and they ultimately decide to approve or deny the project funding. Their decision is final without any further review. The CSCB may approve funding of good quality but lower ranked projects to ensure a balance of project type and or geographically distributed conservation benefits. So operational requirements. If you do get awarded, the district must designate a project coordinator as the main contact between the CSCB and the district. That's usually the district manager. A publicity effort, at least one, preferably documenting the educational activity, the success of the activity, the funding partners, plans for future activities, etc. Announcing the project is not considered publicity for this purpose. And you must at least submit one photograph of the activity to be included with the final report. Insurance. Districts must have general liability insurance in force and provide a copy to the CSCB Grant Specialist. On reporting requirements, so the reporting templates are also on the operations website, and they need to be submitted to the grants administrator at the email address, at the grants email. And the reporting frequency is, the first is April 20th. You can see it here. But one thing to note is if you finish your project in the first quarter, like for example, I had a district do an educational activity in the first quarter and it's done. They got their funds and their project is completed. All they had to submit was a final report because they're already done. So they don't have to keep sending me quarterly check-ins. Their final report was already sent and it's done. If you're going to take the whole year, then yeah, I need these quarterly reports on these dates, please. If for any reason you're going to be late or you have a question, just reach out and I'm more than happy to help. And so here's some pictures of last year's publicity efforts and projects. And so pretty cool. Right here, these are the Mormon crickets taking over the street. And then some educational activities, outreach. It's pretty cool stuff to see what is done across the state. And then so just to have like a quick recap, the application deadline is July 21st. Projects must impact and benefit private lands within the state of Colorado. Districts must be in statutory compliance. Requires a 1-to-1 match with half of that being hard cash. Use the grant writing tools and ask others to proofread and provide feedback. Read through the grant application guidelines. You have to use the templates provided on the operations website, and then answer all the questions to your best of your ability. If you have any questions at all when you're working through this, just reach out to me and I will try to help to the best that I can. If I don't know an answer, I'm going to find the answer for you. Okay, and so that's all I have. Thank you. And I'll quit sharing my screen. If you have any questions, you can ask me now.
Awesome. Thanks, Raquel. And I'll, while you guys kind of munch on that or think of some questions for, I would greatly push to reach out to your field specialist or Raquel or even myself to review those applications. We're happy to help. And sometimes it's super helpful just to have a second pair of eyes to look over for the sentence structure, or does this phrase sound funky, or just catching those grammatical and spelling mistakes that sometimes sneak into there. So we are happy to help review those and just take a second look at things like that. So please reach out to us and or your regional field specialist for that. We're happy to do that.
I also really like that idea, and I just stole it from somebody else, but like reading it out loud to yourself, because you do get to like help catch awkward phrases and things like that. So that's a good tip too, and we're all here for you if you need anything. You guys are all experts. You've done it. You've applied. Probably teach me something, but I think it's good to have that refresher that we're here and that we will look at it with you, and we're here for you guys.
Okay. Any questions for Raquel while we have her here? What a quiet group. You just covered it all, Raquel.
Well, I guess so.
Kayla or Garth, or Carissa, do you guys have thoughts on like when you review them, what you wish a district would ask for? Like not just following the rules, but you're like, wow, this would be such a creative solution to a problem we know exists.
Yeah, so that's a good question, Maggie. And that's kind of as far as troubleshooting projects, things like that, the field specialists could kind of work with districts in that capacity. But it's ultimately up to the reviewers to decide on funding. And so field specialists could definitely help do some like brainstorming or have those conversations with districts, definitely utilize the field specialists in that regard. And then just kind of reviewing content, just the grammar, narrative, things like that. But that is something to note that the final decision making is left to the review committee. And Garth, feel free to kind of jump in if I missed anything or if you have any additional thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate that we don't really have much of a say in what the review committee will decide on eventually. So yeah, we don't really have much say in it. So I don't know if it would be helpful. Certainly we can have our own wishes, but I don't know that the committee will listen to us necessarily. But again, yeah, we are happy to help review just for content, for grammar and that sort of thing.
I think that's helpful. Thank you. I think my question is more like, you guys see all of these projects. Are there ways that districts should be thinking about like livestock water creatively? Like, are there ways for us to present more impactful projects that we've seen in the past? And I recognize that you guys may not have the final decision, but you do get to hear from a lot of districts around like what's working, what's not working.
I think having a well thought out project and really selling it is probably maybe the most important aspect of that. In terms of like whether or not it's an innovative project or not, I don't see that as being maybe as important as just having it well researched and, as Raquel said, just really well supported and basically, sell it to the reviewers.
Thank you.
And then also probably, yeah, like really looking at their long range plan and like defining like what their area needs, right? The matching grant it's a lot of money and it's good, and you know what I mean, and it's pretty easy to match and it's an easy grant to apply for. So just really like defining what your district needs and going from there. And we try to have like the most diverse review committee. I'm right now in the middle of like putting it together. We'll have members from our board, members from CACD's board. I'm going to go solicit them at their meeting next week. People from NRCS I'm asking to be on the review committee, other state agencies. So, and maybe the other programs in the department. So just trying to have like, the most well-rounded group of individuals reviewing the applications, because not everybody scores the same, right? Some people are really hard scores, some people are really soft scores, so hope as long as they're consistent. And that's one of the things too, is once I have like the whole committee put together, I'll have a meeting with them and just really going over the scoring process, the criteria, and just really reiterating to them like to be consistent. If you're like in your scoring, right, just be consistent. And and that's why we try to have like a big group of people reviewing, because some people really put all of their they think on the ground, right, is the most important, where somebody else might think education is the most important, right? So really just having like a diverse group of people coming together, understanding, to be consistent, and really just try to make it even. I don't know, does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Callie and Faye from White River.
Hi.
Hi guys. So 2 questions. So any changes to the forms from last year?
No, no changes yet. I made them accessible because of the deadline that was required of the state, but there's no changes yet. We were going to go through a change with the board, but after like meeting with them several times, and we are putting a committee together for that also, it might be more of a change towards how they score things, right? Instead of the actual application itself. But if you have like any feedback that you can give me on the form, like I would love that, right? Because I've only been doing the matching grants for a year now. And so any feedback that you have like issues with the form, or I like send them to me in email so I know and I can advocate to make it better in the future.
I mean, my experience with it is it's been fine. So I just wondered, I knew there was some conversation about that. So I was wondering. The second thing, so the 21st of July is a Sunday. So are you expecting those in by Friday or by Monday? Or are you
By-
going to go work on Monday?
By
Sunday,
Monday.
sorry. By Monday.
By
Okay.
Monday, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, Raquel, I haven't had a chance to look at the site, the CSCB site, as far as reporting, because you and I have had multiple conversations on that. Do you
Yeah.
expect those reports to change up?
No, the only things that are
Okay.
going to change is just right now is just the accessibility stuff. And I'm kind of learning as I go. So if you're getting in there and realizing, hey, this part of the form doesn't work or whatever, let me know right away, because I'm trying to learn all the accessibility at the same time. And I'm not an expert, but I'm trying.
Same. Yeah. So you and I will keep in contact then, because we know kind of how our situation is slightly different.
Right.
Okay.
Thank
Penny,
you guys.
yeah, of course. Penny, I see your question. It'll be $25,000 again. Or up to, I guess, right? How much are you allocated for the matching grant?
So
the
Raquel, the
yeah.
question that I had was, how much is the state getting to disperse to all of our districts this year? Like in total, do you know that number yet?
I know that every year it's around like 450,000. And I don't know if that has changed with, I know they were like signing a new bill. And so I'm not sure if that increased or not, but I know that it didn't go down. So I'll have to look into it, and I'll definitely let you know the final answer. I can let everybody know, but I know at least 450,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All great questions. Any others for Raquel? Okay, well, hearing none, always feel free to reach out to us via email, phone call. We're happy to help, and definitely reach out to Raquel for specific matching grant questions. Again, this will be posted on the website, and we'll be sure to share a follow-up email with her presentation as well. So just keep an eye out for that. But with that said, we will go ahead and wrap up today, and thanks for joining us, and we hope you have a good rest of your week.